The moment that play happened, the entire arena seemed to freeze. Caitlin Clark took the contact, staggered, looked stunned for a split second, and then kept playing. And within minutes, the internet exploded. Fans slowed the replay down frame by frame. Former players weighed in, analysts argued for hours, and suddenly one question was everywhere. Was this simply basketball? Or had the conversation around how Caitlin Clark is defended reached a breaking point? Sit with that for a second, because what happened next might have been even bigger than the play itself. Alyssa Thomas responded. Sophie Cunningham responded. Caitlin Clark responded in her own measured way, and now the entire WNBA finds itself facing questions that refuse to disappear. Let that sink in, because this story isn't just about one possession, it's about months of controversy, months of debates, months of accusations, months of fans asking why every hard foul involving Caitlin Clark instantly becomes the biggest conversation in women's basketball. Rewind back for a second. Ever since Clark entered the league, every physical game has been examined under a microscope. Every shove gets replayed. Every screen gets analyzed. Every technical foul becomes national news. Why? Because she's the biggest attraction the league has seen in years. That's simply reality. She sells tickets. She moves television ratings. She fills arenas. And that means every major moment involving her becomes much bigger than the game itself. Now fast forward to that Fever versus Mercury matchup. The contact involving Alyssa Thomas immediately became the centerpiece of the basketball world. Some fans believed it crossed the line. Others insisted it was simply physical basketball. The replay spread everywhere. Social media split into completely different camps. Former players disagreed. Commentators disagreed. Even people who normally never watch the WNBA suddenly had opinions. And that's exactly why this situation became so enormous. Because perception matters. Now watch what happened afterward. Instead of the conversation cooling down, it got even hotter. Reports confirmed discipline from the league. For many fans, that immediately raised another question. Was the punishment enough? Some argued yes. Others argued absolutely not. The debate only intensified. And that's when Sophie Cunningham entered the conversation. Her comments immediately became headline material. Supporters viewed them as standing up for a fellow player. Critics believed they poured gasoline onto an already raging fire. Either way, people listened. Because when players begin publicly discussing physical treatment on the floor, everyone pays attention. Let that sink in. Then came Alyssa Thomas. She addressed the situation. She rejected the idea that there had been malicious intent. She described the play differently than many people online had interpreted it. And naturally, that didn't end the argument. It expanded it, because once different people are describing the exact same play in completely different ways, the discussion is no longer just about basketball. It's about trust. Who do fans believe? The replay, the player, the officials, the league. That's why emotions have stayed so high. Now let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Notice something that often gets overlooked. Throughout controversy after controversy, she has usually kept her public comments remarkably controlled. That's not because emotions don't exist. It's because she's repeatedly chosen not to inflame situations. Think about that. Every microphone is waiting. Every headline is ready. Every quote can become national news. Yet time after time, Clark has largely redirected attention back toward basketball. Whether people agree with that approach or not, it's been consistent, and consistency matters. Meanwhile, fans have continued asking difficult questions. Why do some believe Clark receives unusually physical treatment? Why do others insist she's simply experiencing the same contact every elite guard experiences? Those questions aren't disappearing. If anything, they're growing louder. Now rewind again. This isn't the first debate surrounding officiating. Throughout the season, there have been repeated discussions about consistency. Players from multiple teams have criticized officiating. Coaches have questioned calls. Former stars have debated standards. That's bigger than one player. It speaks to a league-wide conversation. Still, because Caitlin Clark draws unprecedented attention, every discussion involving her becomes magnified. Every missed whistle becomes a trending topic. Every technical foul becomes front-page news. That's the reality of being the league's biggest attraction. Now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham again. One reason so many fans appreciated her comments is because they interpreted them as loyalty. Basketball players noticed notice who supports teammates. They notice who speaks publicly. They notice who has someone's back, whether everyone agrees with her words or not. Supporters viewed her as standing firmly beside another player during an extremely controversial moment. And that resonated, because fans love teammates who protect one another. Now here's another layer. The league itself has found an incredible opportunity. Interest is rising. Attendance has increased in many markets. Television audiences have grown dramatically compared with previous years. That's exciting, but it also creates enormous pressure. Every controversial moment becomes a test. Can the officials maintain confidence? Can the league communicate clearly? Can debates stay focused on basketball instead of becoming personal? Those aren't easy questions. They're incredibly important ones, because perception shapes everything. Now consider something else. Former players have also entered these conversations. Whenever respected veterans discuss officiating or physical play, fans pay attention. Experience carries weight. That doesn't automatically settle every argument, but it reminds everyone that basketball has always involved balancing physical competition with player safety. Finding that balance is never simple. Now here's what makes Caitlin Clark unique. She isn't just another rookie. She arrived carrying historic expectations, record-breaking college audiences, massive media attention, an entirely new wave of fans. That's extraordinary. It's also complicated, because every opponent wants to compete against the biggest name. Every arena wants the biggest crowd. Every television network wants the biggest ratings. Success creates pressure. Pressure creates scrutiny. Scrutiny creates controversy. And controversy creates headlines. We're watching that cycle happen in real time. Now ask yourself this: how many ordinary regular season possessions become national stories? Almost none. Yet one controversial sequence involving Clark dominates sports conversations for days. That tells you everything about her impact. Love her, criticize her, root against her, support her. One thing is impossible to deny: people are watching, and that's changing the league. Now let's address another major talking point. Some fans believe the league must do a better job communicating disciplinary decisions. Others believe every decision is criticized no matter what happens. That's a difficult position. Transparency matters. Consistency matters. Player safety matters. Competitive basketball matters. Balancing all four isn't easy, but it's necessary, because confidence in the process matters just as much as the outcome. Now think about the emotional side. Players compete at incredible intensity. Games move fast. Contact happens. Tempers rise. Officials make split-second decisions. Slow motion replay often looks very different than real speed. That's part of why these conversations become so complicated. But fans also have every right to debate what they see. Healthy disagreement is part of sports. Personal attacks aren't. That's an important distinction. Now let's come back to Clark. One reason supporters admire her is resilience. She keeps getting back up. She keeps competing. She keeps taking the next shot. She keeps making the next pass. Whether she's praised or criticized, she keeps playing. That's why so many people connect with her. Now think about the broader picture. Women's basketball has never had more attention. That's worth celebrating. Every sold-out arena, every nationally televised game, every young fan discovering the sport. That's progress. The challenge now is making sure the conversation stays centered on great basketball instead of constant controversy, because the talent across the league deserves recognition. Stars throughout the WNBA compete at an extraordinary level. That should remain the focus. Yet moments like this remind everyone how much emotion sports can generate. Now, here's something worth remembering. Rivalries have always helped basketball grow. Physical games have always sparked debate. Passionate fans have always disagreed. None of that is new. What's different now is the scale. Millions more people are paying attention. Every replay reaches millions of screens within minutes. Every quote spreads instantly. Every opinion becomes amplified. That's modern sports. Now imagine where this goes from here. Every matchup involving these teams will receive extra attention. Every whistle will be analyzed. Every collision will be replayed. That's simply reality now. Because once a rivalry captures the imagination of fans, it rarely disappears overnight. And that's exactly where we are. Whether you're convinced the contact crossed the line or convinced it didn't, one thing is undeniable: people care deeply. That's a sign of a league experiencing unprecedented attention. Now, let me know down in the comments. Do you think the conversation has become too emotional? Or do you believe these debates are necessary to improve the game? I'm genuinely curious where you stand, because this discussion isn't ending anytime soon. Stick around, because every new game writes another chapter. Every matchup brings another opportunity. Every performance adds new evidence. And through all the noise, the ultimate answer still comes from basketball itself. Players respond on the court. Teams respond with wins. Stars respond with performances. That's where reputations are built. That's where legacies are made. And that's why every possession still matters. No matter how loud the debate becomes, no matter how many headlines appear, no matter how many opinions flood social media, the game always keeps moving, and so do the players determined to leave their mark. That's the story everyone will continue watching.